to motivate you through whatever you've been going through. We can talk about it. We ain't passing no judgment. So don't be ashamed. It's all the same. Stay in your lane. Your lane. It's whatever your real life looks like. Stay in your lane. Come out the dark and don't be ashamed. Your lane. Let's have a conversation on what we face every day. Tune into your lane talk show. It makes us feel good just to know we're not alone. No more we'll feel isolated and cast aside. I want you to come out the dark. Just don't be afraid of your heart. So don't be ashamed. It's all the same. Stay in your lane. Your lane. It's whatever your real life looks like. Stay in your lane. Come out the dark and don't be ashamed. Your lane. Let's have a conversation on what we face every day. It's your Lane Talk Show with Coach Trish Hannah.
Hello, good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to another great episode of Your Lane with Coach Trish Hannah. Let's see, we have some streaming things here. Let's get this out the way out at once and for all. All right, Your Lane Talk Show here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM dial in Bahamas. I am your coach, Trish Hannah, and this is Your Lane Talk Show, where we empower, encourage, and educate women and men of all ages. I had a colleague that said to me, this is a people show, and you are absolutely correct. This is a people show. I know prior to today, actually, we were saying this is a women's talk show and we cater to our men, but because there's so many different topics that can appeal to both sexes or gender, we say men and women, it's a people show. All right, that's we can keep it like that. All right, last week's episode 179, was growing in your backyard with Aunt Charles Shelley Dawkins, and she is a Bahamian wellness advocate and the founder of Back to the Bush, a company dedicated to preserving and promoting the rich tradition of Bahamian bush medicine. Now, when she was on the show last week, we spoke about so many different things. We spoke about ways that even in her situation, that she was healed from cancer because of the various bush medicines that she took. Certain bushes such as aloe, cedar grass, sorrel-seed. We spoke about the soursop leaf, pear leaf. We discussed cultural ailments like the diabetes, the cancer, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fibroids. Yes, we even discussed perimenopause and menopause. We also discussed erectile dysfunction, and in each of those situations, she was able to literally pinpoint each bush medicine or bush tea that will help enhance or increase the betterment of our bodies because of it. So, of course, when you tune into that particular show, it's episode 179. Wood growing in your backyard, and that's on Your Lane with Coach Trish Hannah on YouTube. And when you are there, we ask you to please like and subscribe. Now, today we're having a conversation that many families may eventually find themselves having because of the statistics. And of course, we have someone who tell us a little bit more about the statistics there. But often we don't know as Bahamians how to navigate the situation, right? What happens when someone we love begins to forget? What happens when the mother who once took care of us, we are now being the ones to take care of them? And looking for proper care also, because sometimes we can't do it, we have to go to work. So we're looking for the proper care to help our mother, our father, our grandparents, etc., as they experience the changes in their memory, their behavior, or ability to do things they once did so easily. Today's topic is the caregiver's heart, loving someone through Alzheimer's and dementia. And this conversation is not just about the person diagnosed, okay? It's also about the caregiver. We want to think about them, we want to consider them. The person who has to learn how to communicate differently, provide personal care, keep the home safe, manage medications and appointments, make difficult situations become easier or better, making even difficult decisions in times when you try to decide, I should, I love my mom this much that I have to do this. I have to leave. I love my dad this much that I have to stay, whatever the situation or circumstances may be. And sometimes watch someone they love slowly change right before their eyes. We're going to talk about recognizing the signs, understanding the disease, caring for our loved ones with dignity, creating a safe environment, choosing the right caregiver, and knowing what qualifications and qualities to look for when we need additional help. And just as importantly, we're going to talk about the caregiver's heart, because caregivers, as you know, need care too. Right, there are lots of ways that we can be heard today. You can tune in to Guardian 96.9 FM radio dial, channel 969 on cable, or also on BTC Flow channel 612, the Guardian Radio app for Android or Apple. We're on the website as well, www.guardiantalkradio.com. And if you want to join in as well, we are on Facebook, Your Name Life Coaching, or on YouTube, Your Name with Coach Trish Live. You get to see my beautiful guests today. They are just so excited to share what it is that they know. And of course, I can't wait to introduce them. So Your Name with Coach Trish, episode 180. The Caregiver's Heart, Loving Someone Through Alzheimer's and Dementia, is brought to you by John Shoe Store and Accessories, Tropical Gyros, Your Name Life Coaching, the Children's Dream Journal, available at All Seasons Book and Gift Center in Palmdale or on Amazon, or Thompson Trading Brands, Lysol, Del Monte, and Airwick, Commonwealth Bank, and 242 Media Connect. Listen, the voices are here, the stories are here, the talent is here. Introducing 242 Media Connect, your go-to space to connect media and messages across the Bahamas, whether you need a guest or you are a guest. This platform is for you. Don't miss out. Go to Facebook, search 242 Media Connect, and get connected today. Let's elevate the conversation and let's connect. All right. So my question for the audience today, for those who are tuning in is: have you ever cared for a loved one experiencing memory loss, dementia, or Alzheimer's? What was the hardest part of the journey for you? And let's put this on the banner for those who are tuning in via Facebook. The question once again: have you ever cared for a loved one experiencing memory loss, dementia, or Alzheimer's? What was the hardest part of the journey for you? Okay, and the numbers to call are 323-6232, 325-4316, or 325-4259. You can also give us a text. The text number is 422-GR96. That's 422-479-6. And of course, those who are tuning via social media, you can answer here as well. I'm going to introduce our speakers, our guests real quick, and then right after that, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll start in our conversations, all right? So joining us today is Mrs. Wendi Poitier-Albury, an attorney by profession with a passion for service and advocacy. Wendi became involved in advocacy for the elderly and those affected by dementia and Alzheimer's after seeing the impact of the disease on her in-laws. Her passion for awareness grew even further when she served as chair of the Alzheimer's Awareness Committee in her local sorority chapter, where she successfully led island-wide Alzheimer awareness activities. Today, Wendi serves as the president of the Bahamas Alzheimer's Association, a volunteer organization dedicated to providing support, assistance, advocacy, and education to care partners and families living with dementia and Alzheimer's, while working to promote awareness and reduce the stigma surrounding the disease. Wendi is currently employed at the University of the Bahamas and is the proud mother of 3 girls and 1 fur baby. Buster. Hi, Buster. Mrs. Albury, welcome. I'm sure you. Welcome to Your Lane. We're so happy to have you with us.
And I thank you so much for inviting us to be here today.
Thank you. And also joining us is Mrs. Deirdre Clarke-Maycock, a dedicated volunteer with the Bahamas Alzheimer's Association for more than 5 years. Deirdre brings a deeply personal perspective to today's conversation, having served as the primary caregiver for her late mother, Lorraine Clarke, while also caring for her father, Charles Clarke, and supporting her brother, Michael, who has been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. Professionally, Deirdre currently serves as Registrar of Records at the Registrar of Records Department, a position she has held since February 2025. She's also a member of the Bahamas Bar Association. Deirdre, welcome to your Lane Talk Show. We're so grateful to have you.
And I'm happy to be here and also to talk about my experience.
Yes.
And also to promote the initiatives of the Bahamas Alzheimer's
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you ladies. You know, this has been on my heart for a while. So, of course, we're going to take a quick break there, producer, and then when we come back, go straight into those questions. Okay? You're tuning in to Your Lane with Coach Trish. No. Yes, ma'am.
John Shoes and Accessories is your one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. You will find what you're looking for among the growing collection of classic and trendy styles with new arrivals every week. John's covers the whole family and has great prices, helpful and friendly customer service. Your experience shopping with us will be time well spent. Shop with us online at www.johnshoes.com. John's also now carries small home appliances. So come on into John's, located on Rosetta Street in Palmdale and Carmichael Road West. John's, we put fashion at your feet.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Always on the go? Miss the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime.
I can't tell you that I don't get nervous.
Headed to South Florida soon? Holiday Inn Express in Plantation welcomes you to the heartbeat of Florida fun. Whether it's business or pleasure, the Holiday Inn Express is close to sensational shopping, captivating dining, and nightlife. Elevate your Florida experience. Sleep well and rest easy at Holiday Inn Express. Complimentary breakfast buffet featuring seasonal favorites. Keep up your fitness routine in our 24-hour on-site fitness center with cardio equipment and free weights. Or take a refreshing swim in our outdoor pool. Your special Bahamas tourist rate awaits. Holiday Inn Express, 1701 North University Drive. In Plantation. Book your getaway now. Call directly at 954-472-5600 or the sales department for reservations and additional information.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Going on like that. Taking too much of it.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Your Lane Talk Show with Coach Trish. Today's topic, once more, is, of course, we're talking about taking care of our the caregiver part, loving someone through Alzheimer's and dementia. And then, of course, we have our guest, Mrs. Wendi Albury, as well as Mrs. Poitier-Albury on board. And of course, we are excited to hear what they have to say regarding this particular topic. This topic is dear to my heart as well, because I do have family members who suffered from this. I had a grandaunt. In fact, I have three grandaunts who suffered from this, and I also had a grandmother, my dad's mom, who suffered from this. And I know we're going to get into it, but one of the things that when I was young bothered me, and I used to turn bothered because it was scary, is one time when my dad was talking to my mom, and she finally said, Mint ran away. You know, couldn't find her. You know, I was like, what was going on? And then it's because, of course, she unlocked all the hinges, went down the street, talking about she going to work. Okay, and she was like 80 something, going on 90. Say she going to work. Thank God there was, I think, just a neighbor or someone that found her. But it's stuff like that that's been pressing on my heart. It's scary. And so, of course, having to create awareness for situations like this. And then I also shared, as earlier, speaking to the ladies, is that I do have a group on Facebook called the Housekeepers and Caregivers, where we have people who exchange, persons who are looking for caregivers, persons who are caregivers, they connect. And so, of course, having the show, we want to know how to connect with these people, what to look for, what are some signs, and how to assist them. So before we get into all of that, my very first question, Mrs. Aubrey, is because as a president of Bahamas Alzheimer's Association, you notice, what is it that made you realize, first of all, that there was such a strong need for greater awareness here in the Bahamas for Alzheimer's?
Oh, like as you said earlier in your introduction, even though you're kind of aware of it, but because I was more closely connected to it because of my in-laws who have both since passed, that is how when you're living with something every day, and then of course you come to realize that you're not the only one, because other people are telling you, oh, my aunt is experiencing that, or, my granddaddy, we just had to, because like you mentioned, somebody wondering, my granddad had just gone and walk off and we couldn't find him, those type of things. So almost every day, you were coming into contact, I was coming into contact with other persons who were also experiencing the same types of things that I was dealing with. And as a result of that, like I said, with the organization, with the sorority that I was in, we had one of our programs a couple of years ago that looked at Alzheimer's and dementia. And as a result of that, I came into contact with more people. And, it was just a loose group of persons who were experiencing some of these same things. And we said, hey, you know what? We really need to form an association. We need to start formalizing this, because we know that there are other people who are out there who are also experiencing these same things. And then also to let people know that the stigma that is associated with it, that you don't need to be afraid, you don't need to hide the person in the back room, you don't need to lock them down. Persons with Alzheimer's and dementia, they can still be a normal part of society. They can still contribute to society. They can still be a viable person within your family. And so again, to bring more awareness and to advocate for a person. So that was really, one of the things, because they realized, okay, other people out here experiencing these same types of things, and they probably don't know what to do. And once you have that support, and you have persons who are also experiencing the same things that you are, you're better able to handle things, you're better able to deal with things. So that was one of the main impetuses with us getting this organization together.
And it's very much needed. And let's go from the basics. As behaviorists, we always say, dementia is Alzheimer is dementia, or dementia is Alzheimer. And I want you to explain what is the difference, and then I guess we can work on that. What is the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia?
Okay, well, if you look at an umbrella, it's raining now, so hey, this is a good example. Dementia is considered as the umbrella term for what we call a decline in memory and thinking skills, and it's severe enough that it will disrupt your daily life. So when you have memory loss or situations where you're not able to function as you normally would have, that is what we call dementia. It's a decline in brain activity. Alzheimer's is one of the many parts of dementia, because there are many types of dementia. I think most recently persons may be aware of the actor Bruce Willis, who has Lewy body dementia. Right. And so there are different types of dementia, and Alzheimer's is one of those types of dementia, and it accounts for about 60 to 80% of all dementias that occur. And one of the things too that researchers found out that people can have more than one type of dementia, so that you could have Alzheimer's, and you could also have Lewy body, and then of course persons who would have had strokes, they would have had, because what it is, it's a constriction in the brain vessel. Now, of course, I'm not a PhD, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, so this is just from my reading and my research. But of course, the persons can get the more technical terms from a medical physician. But it really is a degenerative progression within the brain, and reduces the functions of the brain enough that it can interfere with your daily life.
So, as we're talking about this as well, in most cases, we realize the persons who have dementia or Alzheimer's are usually in the elderly. But how, I guess, at what age or how early can someone experience Alzheimer's or dementia?
Well, of course, one of the things we have found out too is that aging is not, dementia is not a normal part of aging. So it doesn't necessarily mean that as you get older, hey, this is going to happen. Because we have instances where persons who are almost 40 who have presented with Alzheimer's and dementia. In the Bahamas, yes, and in other parts of the world, they call the early onset or young onset dementia. And so it's not necessarily as you get older, but of course we know with aging, there is more likelihood of it happening. And so, it can happen at any age. Some of the things that persons need to be aware of when we talk about the warning signs for dementia, if persons have difficulty with familiar tasks. For instance, we have instances where a person, they may have paid their electricity bill, their utility bills, they're right on time, they don't miss. And now all of a sudden the light turns off. Or why? Because they haven't paid their bills. And so difficulty with performing familiar tasks. If you're disoriented, because that was one of the things what we found with my father-in-law, disoriented to time and to place where he was. He got disoriented, he got lost. Unfortunately, somebody was able to find him, get his phone and call us. But he had gotten disoriented where he was driving. He didn't know. And we found incidents where people, they say, oh, this person is driving on the wrong side of the road. And one of the things they realize is because when we had the roadworks, the change in roadworks, where you used to go, for instance, person was driving on Shirley Street, and you would have usually before you would have been able to drive you would go north, from west and going east. And now when they changed the direction, it's now only going east to west. And so you had an instance where somebody who was driving along, they didn't realize the disorientation because they remembered it being as one way. And of course, and then
before you one second, this has been a call who's been holding for a while. Okay, let me just get this caller. Caller, you're on live. Your name and talk with Coach Trish. Good afternoon.
Coach Hannah, how you doing, ma'am?
Well, thanks.
And to your guest host there. One of the ladies said something earlier. I didn't know it. It's a funny thing. All them songs just alike. One of those said something about hiding the loved one.
Okay.
Say putting them away in the back room and all of that.
Right.
I've never had the privilege or the opportunity to take care of somebody with Alzheimer's. But what happened to me is I was dating somebody who mom ended up with Alzheimer's. And when we first started dating, this was like a 4-year relationship. And her mommy is quite normal when I started going around to the house. And then I started noticing little things. I told her about it. And she really was in denial. I said, man, you need to talk to your mommy and see what's going on. Then her mommy started calling me her boyfriend. Her mommy saying I was her boyfriend. And so I just started getting along with the program, which I regretted later down. And I just started playing along with her, yeah, like that, And you was my boyfriend, yeah, like that. And she just started, the girl said she used to cry in the night when I don't come there.
Oh, boy.
So it started to get, and I thought, then after a while, I got to go right now. After a while, about 3.5 years in, they end up putting a big deadlock on the top of the door. Her sister, and he had this thing rattling one morning, was around 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Their mommy completely dressed for church.
Ready to go.
Dressed straight up. And she was going to church.
So these are some of the signs that families have to be aware of.
She already had it. But and then, the girl turned around and she tried to say, I put that on her mother.
Oh, boy.
I said, but you could have, if you was noticing your mom, you could have seen things happening.
Well, this is why it's so important for us to educate our Bahamian people and to let them know what are some of these warning signs, some of these things. And it's not that somebody trying to fix your family. Get rid of that stigma that is associated with it. Ain't nobody trying to fix you. It is a part of life that we have to deal with. It is unfortunate, yes, but there are things that can be done, especially if persons are diagnosed early. And this is one of the things we're trying to push, especially this year, is to make sure that persons get early diagnosis, that they go and get their screenings done, and that people know what it is that is happening with their family members. And it's nothing to be afraid of, because I know that there is that fear that is there. That is that stigma that is there. But we have to be cognizant, and we have to educate our family members. We have to educate our Bahamian people about what dementia and what Alzheimer's is all about.
Let's go back to what you said that some of the early signs are. We talk about the fact that the early onset issues are difficulty for doing familiar tasks, and you're feeling disoriented. What are some others?
Now, people always say, okay, yeah, well, misplace your keys or you place your glasses and stuff like that. And one of the things that we always say is, yes, okay, yeah, you may have misplaced your key, because people always forget things.
Sometimes the glasses on your head.
The difference is that you would misplace your key, but you remember you had a key. Somebody who has dementia, they don't even remember they have a key.
Okay.
You see, they don't even know that there is a key. They don't even know that they have glasses. So that is one of the things that kind of distinguishes it, because at least hey, I know I have a key somewhere here, but where I put that key now, I don't know, And then you have other things, of course, where you have the poor judgment, or decrease in judgment. Then persons are withdrawal from social activities. They don't want to go out. They don't want to be involved with anything. And again, mood changes in behavior. These are the things that family members have to be aware of. And when you see these things happening, then of course you take your loved one to see their physician so that they can get their screenings. Because remember now that there are certain drugs and things that persons now can use where you can, while we don't have a cure for Alzheimer's, but there are medications and things that are available that can help reduce the progress and things that persons can do to ensure that, if we increase our brain activity, we increase going out, becoming involved, and that's another thing. That's why we say, don't lock your family member away.
Right. So can we talk about some of the things that we can do to reduce that? I know my show last week, we had Shelley that came on, and she said, drinking, Margaret, helps reduce, that helps you with your memory loss. Do you, can you?
Well, I wouldn't, I am not, again, I said I'm not a physician, so I can't say about, I know there are certain medications and stuff. Now, one of the things that we look at when we're talking about the risk factors that are associated with dementia We have here in the Bahamas already those comorbidities. We already have those things, diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol.
Yeah.
Those factors already are high indicators of risk factors for dementia. So, of course, we are going to be in that high risk factor area right away. Okay? So, excessive alcohol, smoking, again, watching your health, making sure you're keeping physically active, making sure checking with your diabetes and with your hypertension, obesity, all of those types of things. Keeping physically active is one of the main things that they say can help with your reduction in your risk of not only maybe you would maybe get dementia or get Alzheimer's, but it will slow down the progress of the
I see
disease.
someone says they posted, they said, my mom was just been diagnosed with dementia. She said, my mom said, her sister, she had a stroke some 25 years ago. She said her son was her husband. Wow. And then somebody else asked, where can you get tested for dementia?
Yeah, I just wanted to test. I'm sure my president's going to talk about where you can go get tested, because there are a lot of physicians presently in the Bahamas who can test you for dementia. However, the herbal remedies and the literature is out there for is the coconut oil. Coconut oil seems to have been is being pushed as a natural medication for persons, not to eliminate it, but to help to retard the growth or the onset of how often? Well, I don't know. But you're taking like a spoonful a day. Okay, and I think they're suggesting to take a spoonful a day or twice a day to try and see if it's retarded. And that's what I did with my mom. Gave her coconut, the organic coconut oil, so that I can try and see if I can help reduce the development of the disease.
Okay. Of course, you want to share where people can go to get.
Well, you go to your physician. You have your normal. Every year we advise people to go and have their annual checkup, your annual physical, and you tell your attending physician. You say, hey, I want to do a screening as well for Alzheimer's or for dementia. And if they are not able to do it, they should be able to refer you to someone who can do it. So make it as a normal part of going to get your physical. Just as you get your physical, if you get your high blood pressure check, you get your cholesterol check, you can have your screening done for your brain activity, what is happening. And what it does too is that it gives you a benchmark. So that you are able to see if any progress later on down. 5 years I came here, it was at this level. Now 6 years, 7 years down the road, I see maybe there's a decline or something is happening, and that can give an indication. Well, now I know what it is I need to do. Because of course, again, like we say, the more you know, the better you're able to prepare. And so that is what really is the most important thing for us to be aware, for us to be prepared, so that we know how we are able to act. Because if you are able to now make sure you have certain things in place, then it is easier for you as you move on. Prevention is hello. That's all.
I do have some questions that I want to. I know Deirdre started talking about it before. I hold once again this particular topic there because I have family members, but I don't know if you're able to answer. Is dementia genetic? This is a bloodline thing that can be passed on to other family members, et cetera, or it's just something that happens because of, as stated before, the various ailments that we have, high blood pressure, hypertension, et cetera, not taking care of our bodies.
Well, of course, like I said, we know some of the risk factors again, but we cannot say that while they may have family members, yes, we can see that, but then if that were the case, then it would be in every person within that family, eh? So that is why they're saying it's not necessarily a genetic or that, because your parents have it, that necessarily mean that you are also going to present with it. They haven't been able to say that that is a certain connection for 100% certainty, okay? Because you don't have it in every person within a family. But we do know, of course, like I said, of some of those risk factors that may be present. Maybe it's because certain families have, a tendency for obesity. So that might be one of the things. One of the other things that they found out too is persons who have head injuries because of the, injury to the brain, because again, that is what dementia is. And one of the things that with a workshop that I did recently, we had, I attended the Alzheimer's Disease International, which is what Bahamas Alzheimer's Association is part of. And the thing they brought up was talking about head injuries. And also we're talking about domestic violence. Women who have been victims of domestic violence have also a higher instances of developing dementia because they've been hit in the head. So again, this is one of the things I'm talking about women. Hey, if you're in a domestic violence situation, hey, watch out, because dementia might be in your future. Get out of those types of situations, okay? And then, of course, these are things that we are able to control: smoking, alcohol consumption, diabetes, hypertension, those types of things. But then we have also other things that we are not necessarily able to control, like air pollution, education, because those are some of the activities as well. Less education, those persons who have a lesser level of education, they are more likely to develop dementia. Looking at things like vision loss, hearing impairment. And so this is why we're saying it is important for our government and our leaders to ensure that we put certain measures in place. Because while we individually can't control, say, air pollution, okay, or education, the level of education that is available to our persons, our communities, we know that if things are put in place by our government and by our leaders, then they can help to reduce, again, some of these risk factors that are associated.
Now, I had a neighbor that came yesterday to me, and we spoke briefly about it. Now, I don't know if you're able to prove this, but I was told that even heat causes dementia.
I don't know if that's one of the indicators. At least we haven't been able to see where, I don't know if that will maybe the people are uncomfortable because again, so that means that if you're cold, then you'll get better. I don't know.
And that's so terminology. So
I don't know. People in the colder climates, they also develop dementia. So I don't know if that is, that is something that can hold on. But we do know science has proven, and of course, persons who have been working in this area for many years. These are the things, and again, we also are part of the World Health Organization, and the World Health Organization has put together a what we call the National Dementia Plan, which is what we try to encourage governments to become a part of. In 2017, the Bahamas signed on to ensuring that, yes, we would develop a national dementia plan. Unfortunately, we've not, this is now nearly 10 years later, and we still don't have it yet. But we're working on it. The Bahamas Alzheimer's Association has been in contact, and we've had talks with our Ministry of Health, and Deirdre has been, and Social Deirdre has been a part of that group. And so we're hoping that we are able to ensure that we have, if not a fully standalone national dementia plan, at least we have something that is maybe a part of another plan, a health plan, that we can ensure that we have something that will help us to, make sure we have something put in place, because we need to have dementia as a national health priority. We need to have that as focus because we know, again, we have a population that is increasing in aging. And so we know that the likelihood of more people presenting with dementia and Alzheimer's is going to increase. We know that already. I mean, statistics, they don't lie, numbers don't lie. They've already been proven worldwide that we expect to have this increase in the population. We need to have the National Dementia Plan will ensure that we have the awareness so we can reduce the stigma, as we talked about before, that people are not saying that, hey, somebody fix my mommy or somebody fix my uncle, that type of thing. We know what the stigma is all about, and persons can be more aware. They know what it is that is happening.
I want to pivot a bit because time. I want to have. We want to be able to hear from someone who has been in the trenches with this. You said you serve as a primary caregiver for your late mother, while also caring for your father and presently caring for your brother. What has this personal journey taught you about caregiving that you would have never had to learn it from a book?
Listen here, this life experience. Sometimes I take joy in knowing that I was able to take care of my mother for the time that she was on this earth and she had dementia. It has also caused me to learn a whole lot. And oftentimes I find myself in situations where people, even with my brother who is early onset dementia, people say, oh, he know better, this. I'm like, listen here, he's not aware. This is a disease. This is not something where he could turn it off or turn it on. In the moment, he may remember you, but this is a disease that affects you. And when you would say, listen here, he knows better. This man don't know what he's doing. Because he could cost you stink one day. And then the next minute he's like, hey, what happened? Nothing happened. So I've learned how to tolerate to deal with situations like that. Yeah. I've also learned that I'm in a better position to teach people, to let people know that you don't take them on. Yeah. Because my mother, when she had her caregivers, we had to change caregiver initially over the period because when my mother started cussing you out, calling you this and that, people used to be offensive. And I kept saying, don't take on. But they couldn't appreciate that you can't take on. She called me this, she called me that. Don't take on because it is disease. All I could say is the disease. And people don't think of dementia as a disease. They think as if persons know better. They don't. And if I can encourage persons, if just that, persons diagnosed with dementia are not cognizant of what they're doing. Their cognitive abilities have been affected by the disease of dementia. And unfortunately, they may do things that you feel that that they're playing or they're acting out or whatever it is. It's not.
Wow. And so talk to me about even the process of seeing, your late mother and, that process of I know it's a grieving process. Share with us.
Okay, I'll go into the genesis of this. I have a brother who's a physician, and I noticed some stuff, and I told him that listen, something's going on with mommy. I didn't know anything about Alzheimer's at that particular point in time, so he was like, okay, well, we get it checked out. We got it checked out, but it wasn't really at that point in time. I don't think it was a thing. Dementia or Alzheimer's was a thing. So it so happens that I studied in Malta, and she came over. She was very supportive. Now that was the most supportive mommy. Ain't nobody mother more supportive than my mother. Well, she was like, I have to come to your graduation. She knew I was in Malta. So she said, I have to come to your graduation. And I made it possible for her to come to the graduation. But what was so hurtful, when she arrived in Malta, my sister brought her over with me to see me. And she looked at me like she didn't know who I was. And then she said, call Francis, my brother. Call Francis because I'm not spending, I need to go home. I need to go back home. Listen here, I almost cried. You understand me? I'm not spending the night with you. I want to spend the night in my own house. And this after she's traveled over 24 hours. So I almost cried. So anyway, fast forward, when I got back home, I took her to the doctor and started the treatment and everything from then. And they diagnosed that she had dementia, Alzheimer's. And so my mother was, in my mind, she was still a person who could do things. She was living by herself when I was away. She was living with my brother Francis. And she would say, sit home and watch television, and she was quite normal when she was in her zone, when she was in the good zone. But then again, there came a time where I had to say, listen, I couldn't maintain my house and her house. So I said, listen, I need you to come to my house. She said, listen, I'm not going to your house. I'm not going to your house.
Listen, even if she ain't had no dementia, she is Bahamian, right? She ain't coming out of the house to go to nobody else.
There you go. No, she remember that. That's my house and I'm leaving. So anyway, I had to trick her. I said, listen, I just got a divorce, man. I need you in my house to keep my company. I'm the only one inside in the house. So she's like, okay. So she tell everybody, I'm going to her house to protect her.
Oh boy.
You see, the motherly instinct still came out.
So
So she said, I'm going to protect my daughter. She's the only one in that house. I'm going with her to her house to protect her. And so she lived with me until her demise. There was a period where I was the only caregiver, and then my siblings, they started to help out. And so we would take turns having her for a month here and a month there. At first, a doctor from Sandilands had said to me that you need a break. You need a break.
I want to talk about that.
Right? He said to me, you need a break. And he says, and I was like, but I'm the only one who could take care of my mommy. I'm the only one who could take care. He says, you think you're the only one who could take care of your mommy. And I guarantee if you allow your siblings to take care of your mommy, you'd be surprised at how well they take care of her. And listen here, his words were so true that they came on board and they started to take care of her. And her last years were rotating from home to home. And so everybody got to experience the proclivity of having Alzheimer's. And so I thought that was good. Okay, so at the end of the day, I can't be the only one who said I was my mommy's caregiver.
No, you can't say that. But I do want to, because you brought this up, I want to talk about that a little later, but because you brought it up just now, I want you to talk to someone, a caregiver who's presently dealing with their parents or, a loved one, whatever have you. Okay. And they are experiencing the guilt of just, wanting a break. Yeah. So how would you speak to this individual tuning in right now?
The first thing I would say is, listen, don't feel guilty about wanting a break.
Hello.
That had to get hammered into me because I was at that point where I felt as I would be cheating on my mommy if I wanted a break. How dare I ask for a break? But at the same time, I was, listen here, being the sole caregiver of my mother also almost caused me a relationship with my brother. And I will say to you, take that break before it causes you to break. Not just you physically or mentally, but your relationships. Yeah. Because relationships are affected because when you're in that situation, you are you believe that, like I said, I believe I was the only person who could take care of my mommy. No one else could, but others can if put in the situation. So you, even if you hire somebody, and we're trying to find ways of how we can encourage this, but even if you hire somebody to come in for a couple hours, and we have this caregivers ministry in my church where we are encouraging people who are caregivers. If you need a break, come to us. We'll sit down with your loved one for a couple hours so you can get an opportunity to go. And so this is, and listen, people don't buy into it, but it's something my priest, and even this morning he said, Archdeacon Bartlett, he said, listen here, he stressed caregivers ministry today, and he keeps saying the caregivers sometimes is the one who dies before their patient.
I tell you,
because they don't take the opportunity to take a break.
You know, there's someone that says, that posted, they said, "My Lord, that's me. I feel like I'm the only one who can care for her."
Yeah,
And then she
right.
says,
You're the
"I
only
will
one.
be worried, but listen, let me tell y'all something. Just
Because
like
if
Deirdre
you
stated,
drop down dead, ain't somebody else gonna do it.
Somebody
that's
else.
my
Take your
point.
break.
You're gonna, I mean, the importance of trying to find caregivers to assist is vital. It's prominent, even if it's just family members. So let's get into that then. Let's get into what are some questions you think you would want to ask someone who you would have taking care of your loved one? Because you're not gonna have any and everybody in your house.
Definitely not.
So what are some qualifications that is required?
Well, one of the things I'm going to say before I even answer that question, we're living in a society right now where everybody's. I need a tissue. This whole topic is causing me to even get teared up. But the fact that you have a loved one who has dementia.
Go ahead.
The fact that you have a loved one who has dementia, you may be an only child, or you may not even be in the financial position to hire somebody. So, Lord, I didn't forget the question you asked. But
I think what it was. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
But okay, you may. Okay, I wanted to say we're in a peculiar situation.
Yeah.
We have, for the most part, everybody can't afford a caregiver.
Yeah, that is true.
So you may have to be that sole caregiver and have to leave, by the grace of God, pray every time you leave home.
Yeah.
If you can't take your loved one with you, that you have to lock up the house, and you're hoping that they're protected. But if you can afford a caregiver, again, the dementia plan where we're going to be looking into, we're going to ask the government to even subsidize certain things like that, or to make it a national insurance benefit that you can get, because it needs
for family members to get
for family members to get some kind of
assistance.
assistance.
Yeah.
So yes, you're going to need to be able to have things like that in place, and you're going to have to be able to Lord again.
That's
But
okay.
anyway,
I want to know, like, what are some qualifications? So let's say you have
if you can
finances.
afford, if you can
have
afford,
someone in.
if you can afford to have a caregiver, that person, I would think, would have to have some kind of medical background, so that they would know when you're
training.
Yeah, some medical training, so they'll know whether you're in distress, for whatever, your pressure's high, your sugar's high, whatever it is. I remember one time when my mom went to the doctor said, do you check her blood pressure on a regular basis? So all these things are important. Are you making sure that she drinks drinks sufficient water, liquid? And especially now, I think every day you hear, make sure your elderly gets hydrated.
Yeah.
So yes. Right, the heat, right. But I think
that's it. That's all
right. But so yes, you're gonna have to have your training, and you're gonna and oftentimes you're gonna, and this is another thing that I think is necessary. You may need to bring in foreign assistance, and because of the right now, we're not focusing on persons who, and seeing the nurses may get vexed with me, right? But there is a nurses association that have people that can come to your house, but you're going to need almost like 24-hour care for your person who's affected by dementia. So you're going to have to say, listen here, this person is going to have some kind of medical training. And oftentimes Bahamians have not been trained to do these kinds of things. And so you may have to bring in a foreign element. And if you bring in the foreign element, you're going to have to pay the permit fees. And right now, this is one of the things I'm advocating for in the dementia plan. If you find that you're going to need to bring in a foreign element to come and deal with your parent or your family member, the government shouldn't be charging you $2,000 for that. That's a necessity. That's not a want. That is a necessity. So where there's a necessity, the government is going to have to reconsider the permits that they are charging for these kinds of services. Now, I think you had also asked me at one point, what would I what would I think a caregiver should exude?
Yeah. What are the
Okay.
qualifications?
But
and some red flags.
Yeah, well, some red flags. I don't want nobody who get vexed when my mommy cuss him out. Or my brother cuss him out.
Yeah.
I want him to be compassionate and say, listen here, this woman don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to also be available. And when I say available, 24/7 kind of available. If she moves, you are aware that she moved. Empathetic. You know, she's not aware, he or she's not aware of what they're going through. So you have to be empathetic. And like I said earlier, don't take on what they say. Don't respond. And I will say to you, my brother who has early onset, oftentimes we're out and I'd say, oh, you don't have to do that, you know. He says, what, you don't think I know I don't have to do that? And because he's agitated, I just draw back. So you have to know, like they said, the song says, know when to hold him, know when to walk away. Yes. So you have to know when to walk away in certain circumstances. And I think that's a very key criteria for persons, especially if they're violent, if they're violent. And this time you have to have patience. Is very good. And be creative in keeping them active, because one of the things the doctors had said with my mother, keep her busy, because she would sleep all day if you allow her. And then in the night, she walking up and down. When you're trying to sleep, she walking up and down. So you have to be creative through the day. And always alert, because over the years, we've had a lot of situations where persons with dementia have been found wandering.
Yes.
Or persons have said they're people they can't find their loved ones.
Right.
So we're going to have to be alert to them, because I will say to you, my mother was, she died at 89, but throughout her years with dementia, those legs, they were so quick. When I turned my head, she moved faster than me. So yeah, those are things that you're gonna have to look at. And I tell you, patience, like you said, patience, plenty patience.
So let's talk about then, like what, as far as monitoring these caregivers, because you don't want them to feel as if you are hoovering over them and you don't trust them. I say that because there's someone that posted, I tried bringing in a cousin. Mom said she was stealing. So when it comes to like monitoring the quality care without making the caregiver feel that they're being watched or distrusted in any way, how can someone monitor that or deal with that?
Well, for me, I didn't have such a problem, right? So I can't really say. The only thing is, mom would say, "Oh, I put my stuff here," and somebody moved it, and we just once we communicated that, listen here, this the deal. But just make sure that you don't leave valuables around. I mean, if you know you're gonna have people in your house, the sensible thing is not to have valuables around. And even if you give your loved one, like my mom used to like to carry her bags around, so her purse, she always had to have a purse on her shoulder. So we used to make sure that she had $2 in a purse, just to make her feel like she got something in the bag. So you don't put things around that you think that you would suspect that, hey, listen, the caregiver has stolen the items or whatnot. Just be vigilant and careful yourself. Put in place a protective mechanism for you and the caregiver. Make sure you ain't gonna lose nothing.
No, but I think too also that comes back to when you have somebody who is properly trained,
right,
and properly educated. If they're going to be a caregiver, this is an employee person who's coming into your home. They have the proper training and they have the education. They know what it is, the techniques, the skills, how to deal with persons who have dementia and Alzheimer's. And so once you are able to ensure that we have the proper training in place, then you that will help to lessen your worry, because I know that I have somebody who is properly trained and who is able to deal with matters relating to my loved one. And again, this is why we think it, as Deirdre mentioned, it is so important that we have the National Dementia Plan, because the National Dementia Plan will address these types of issues to ensure that you have proper training of persons. And again, like you said, I love that point. If you have to bring somebody in from overseas, if you have to have an expatriate come in to take, because we don't have enough persons who are trained on, maybe that's something we need to look at in our school systems. Hey, this is and training, BTVI or training agencies. These are things that we need to train people in. And our Bahamian people, we need to encourage our young people. This may be an area that you want to go into,
right?
So we don't have to bring in people from overseas. And you have to be able to pay them a wage that is,
commensurate with the
exactly with the work that they're doing. It's very important.
That comes with a lot of patience. That comes with proper care. That comes with even your own safety, because you do have some people with dementia who are very violent as well. So you have to know how to take care of yourself. That comes with just understanding, as you stated before, Deirdre, that okay, this is a disease, so this person isn't intentionally trying to grab you. It's almost, because I also had a show with persons with family members with autism, and some of those similar attributes or characteristics that they have are, the grabbing and being violent, etc. So we know that although in cases like that you can train your child properly to do it, in a case like the dementia, you may not be able to do that. You can't. Right. So it's being patient. And so of course you're not going to have any and everyone inside your home. As you said, you want to ensure that they are properly trained. We mentioned some red flags. If you can't take the pressure, that the same for you. What are some other red flags, Ms. Wendi, you think
with regards to
in regards to having to have a caregiver into your home? That some things that you may notice that you'd be like, no.
Well, one of the things I always compare it to, if you have a baby, you have certain boundaries, certain things that persons need to do, and it's almost the same type of thing as if you have somebody who is experiencing dementia and Alzheimer's. They have to be compassionate, they have to be empathetic, they have to be able to recognize what the symptoms are, signals are, and so when you see somebody who is they're not able to handle pressure, they're not able to handle, so well, maybe this might not be the job for you. Maybe you need to be in another line of work. So those are the types of things that again, once you have, if we have a certified or certification program, and we say that, yes, this person is certified, just as if you have a nurse or a doctor, and we say that, yes, you are certified and you've been able to say you can go out there and you can deal with people. Yeah. Once you have that, we should be able to, to go ahead and ensure that we have proper care for our loved ones who are dealing with, the disease.
And then I also recommend, I don't know if your organization does this, but even for families, maybe doing some one-on-ones or some training practices where families who are experiencing it can come to your organization and just get, whatever information necessary to keep them.
Well, we have the support group, and usually it's other persons who are part of the group who will give hints and tips. Well, like, oh, what did you do in certain situations? Or my mom is experiencing this, and then somebody else in the group say, well, this is what worked for me. Or, these are the types of things that we did. So that is the type of thing we have. It's more of a support group that we have. And then, of course, coming up now in September, we have our World Alzheimer's Month, and we will be having the Caregivers Workshop Seminar on the 5th of September. And that's going to be at Grace Community Church. And so we are inviting persons to, again, come out for that, to register. Keep looking out, keep watching out, and we're going to have information on that. And once persons are able to, one of the things we try to say is too, once families are prepared and once families are able to know what it is that they can do to support their loved ones, then that feeling of, shock and anxiety and how am I going to deal with this? What am I going to do? Once you are educated and once you're able to know, then of course you're able to balance that grief. You have that sense of reassurance and you're able to now be more empowered as to how I can move on, what I can do to make life easier, not only for myself, but for the person who is living with dementia. We don't use the word suffering. We say they're living with dementia or
So,
Alzheimer's.
I mean, now that we're talking, because I don't mind
Mhm.
sharing, we can talk about the organization, right?
Mhm.
I have no problem with that, but I want to know, like, what are some of the things you said? You have a support group.
Right.
What if you do have family members that reach out and say, "Hey, I am experiencing burnout"? How do you come in as far as your support group? Do you assist with find or helping them find caregivers to, as Wendi stated, her church has people that can come
Deirdre,
in.
yeah.
Deirdre,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
saying, I'm
okay.
sorry.
Uh-huh.
So is there something that
We'll
the
be able to
organization
say
does?
again, like be able to say we can maybe refer you to places where or other persons who are in the group, they're able to say, hey, this is where we we found that this is something that works, or this is something that we've found that if persons need to take a break, you need to do what worked for us. Then, because again, like I said, we have about 100 and some persons who are in the group. Not everybody takes part in everything, but as it is with everything else.
As in everything,
but persons are able to say, well, hey, I could refer you to maybe doing this, or I can help you with something like that. And so that's how we help each other with those types of things. We're able to show how we can assist each other. Now, we don't have something where we say, well, we are going to refer a certain doctor to you.
Some signs.
Well, like I said earlier, you're argumentative. Some people say I'm born argumentative, right? But generally I'm argumentative. But I think there's a level of being argumentative. You pick on the smallest of things, okay? And you can just burst out at the least things, and then you find yourself very lethargic. I used to, all I wanted to do was just get home, because my caregiver was and the thing is, my caregiver was in the morning at one point until we decided she had to stay over. So my time started like after work. So I am dealing with my situation. So you have your fuse is very short. You're argumentative, you're irritable, you're not eating. I'm sort of missed in a way, because now I'm putting on all this weight. I wish I was.
Oh, Lord.
I wish I was. I had that eating issues, but you didn't eat because you didn't pay attention to yourself.
Yeah.
My health even deteriorated in the sense that my cholesterol levels were high. My stress level was high. My job is a stressful job, so I had stress at work and then stress at home.
Yeah.
So it just had me in a, like, I was tight. I was at the point to pop and didn't realize
anxiety.
it until anxiety until the doctor told me, listen, release yourself, release yourself of some of these things, and I did, and I'm happy I did.
We're happy you did.
Yeah,
Thank God that you're still
Yeah.
here. You know, that you can actually share, especially for those who are tuning in right now, because they need that. They need to know that somebody else, I'm not the only one going through it.
Right.
You know, somebody else
There are a lot of
has
people.
been in it and coming out of it, or presently, you know, going through it with a smile on their face. They could talk about it. They could share what it is that they do to keep them sane. So let me ask you then, what are some ways to relieve that stress?
Well, I like shopping, so I'm more so online shopping.
Yeah.
And once I have my space where I'm by myself, because you have to be by yourself for a good many times. Well, when my mother used to walk, one of the ways I had to relieve myself, I used to make sure that the locks on the doors are locked, secured, and she couldn't get out. You know, when I first moved into my house, I had the lock where you could click. I had to change those to put in the key lock. So when I locked that door, I know, and I put the keys in my room, there's no way that she's gonna come out. So once that door was locked and she walking up and down, I'm fine because she ain't going nowhere.
Well, but the stove and stuff like that.
No, I had to turn those off. I had to turn the outside the knob. But I don't even think my mom would have gone. I've never had any incidents of her going to the stove because she cooked all her life. So I think she may have been thinking, I ain't going to that stove anymore. She never
typical woman right there.
She never ventured to the stove. You understand me? But to secure myself, that was one of the things I did. I turned off the gas from the outside, and I made sure the door was locked. So once those two things, and I didn't have carpets on the floor. I took up all my loose carpet because I didn't want. One of my greatest fear was her falling.
Yeah.
I won't say I didn't come and meet her on the ground once or twice, unfortunately, but that was one of my greatest fear, her falling. And thank God throughout her life, we only had one incident of her falling with the caregiver. And listen, the caregiver was so livid. I'm not livid. She was so hurt. When I got home from work, she says, T, and she took me into the room. When I look in the room, my mommy had this big gash. Of course, I wanted to like go open, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I can't fault her because she may have also been burnt out as the caregiver there all day and all night. So, well, thank God it wasn't anything drastic, but yeah. You just have to make sure it's a secure environment.
One of the things too, like you're talking about your incidences with your as being a carer and also dealing with persons who are caring, that you have to make sure, because the statistics show that 50% of those persons who are caring for someone, that their health has suffered, as you said. So you have to make sure that if you're a carer, that you make sure that you're taking care of your health. Right. And so you're experiencing your health in decline. And one of the things that we also have to point out is that women are more likely to be the ones who are providing the care. And when you have over 50% of your population, that is now either they have to pay for a carer or they themselves
have to be.
That's something, again, that I believe our government needs to be cognizant of and be aware of. You can't have 50% of your population taking on the burden and being responsible for the care of family members. You need to ensure that we have something in place. That is why, again, we keep pushing for the National Dementia Plan. We need to have something in place where we can take care of the persons who are caring for our family members.
Okay.
We have just talking to also that, and most of the time, they're not paid. They're informal caregivers, and they're not paid for what it is they're doing. Right. They even maybe would have to even given up their own job to ensure that their family member is taken care of.
Yeah. So with limited time, I want to now surface and talk about what your organization is doing once again. Bahamas Alzheimer's, like I know you said you have some marvelous plans for September. Yes, so I want us to share. I want you to talk about it. Let the people know the dates, because I know you started with that. Right. Let's go.
We have on the 5th of September, we're going to have the Caregiver Seminar, and we're partnering again. This is going to be our 4th year, partnering with Rotary of South Ocean, and they come and they assist us with that. And I mean, they've done a fantastic job. Every year it has grown and it's gotten bigger and better. And so this year we'll be at Grace Community Church, and so we're looking to have persons come out, all caregivers. You can bring your family member who is also experiencing dementia, but we're going to be looking at things like wellness. We're going to be looking at how to do some financial planning, estate planning, what things a carer needs to be aware of. So we're going to have that. On the 19th, I'm going to let go over to Deirdre. We're going to be having the fun run walk. So she's in charge of that one. So she can talk about that.
Well, that's my baby.
Yes.
And last year we had the fun run walk, and it is under the patron of Dame
Janet.
Why am I having
that's okay.
And it's my baby, right? Yeah. But I'm still having this mental block. Anyway, we're having this Alzheimer's Memory Fun Run Walk on the 19th of September, and it's going to be held in honor of the Right Honorable Janet G. Boswick and family. Now, last year, we persons never talk about Alzheimer's. So we decided, listen here, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's. And one woman who went out public and said her husband had Alzheimer's, the Right Honorable Dame Janet G. Boswick, she went out public and said, listen here, Henry Henry Boswick had Alzheimer's. So I figured, okay, what better person to assist us with sharing the message. So our first walk, but our first walk in his honor was last year. So we are now again having the families consented to us having this memory walk again in his honor. So we're having the Right Honorable J. Henry Boswick Alzheimer's Memory Fund Walk on the 19th, starting at Montague Beach, going to
going down Shirley Street to Armstrong Street and back to East Bay and then back to Montague. 5K.
So persons, please come out and join us on that event and make it a success so we can spread the word. The more persons participate, the more you become aware, because at that event we will have Dame Janet. She was there last year, and we'll have her again, and so people can see a lady who is passionate about Alzheimer's, and she speaks she and her children all speak about Alzheimer's. So
I love that.
That's my passion right there.
Listen, so
we have a church service on the 20th, and then actually the World Alzheimer's Day, which is the 21st of September. Every year we join persons from around the world who are observing World Alzheimer's Day, and that will be on the 21st of September. And the theme this year is the earlier you know, the more you can do. A diagnosis matters. And we have that theme because we want to ensure that persons have the early diagnosis, because again, the more you know, the better you're able to deal with matters with your family. And so to be prepared. So we want to ensure that persons get the diagnosis, that is the key, of course, to unlocking those treatments that persons may need to have. Also to ensuring that you're able to better plan for your family, for the future. You can get your financial planning in place, because again, as we say, we know there's no cure for it. And so we know that this is a progressive disease, but if you can get your life and your finances and your estate, all of those types of things in order. And then also we're able to make sure that persons have the correct diagnosis of the medicines that they're able to take. All of these types of things are important, why we want persons to get a diagnosis. So the earlier you know, the more you can do, and a diagnosis matters.
I love that.
Okay.
And we have the candlelight vigil on the 21st as well, and that's going to be by the Queen's Staircase.
Okay.
And also we would like for persons in the corporate world to assist us by painting this country purple.
Yes.
We want
That's the color?
That's our
colors,
color.
yeah.
We want
Light
every
up.
building to be lit up in purple lights all over the place.
On that day.
On that day.
Or even the whole month, if you can do it.
Yes, the whole month. If
to
you
bring
can do
awareness, because we want to bring that awareness about the disease.
Yes. But definitely on the 21st of September. And we'd like to also encourage officers to have a special Friday. Well, definitely on the 21st, to encourage their staff to wear purple. But if they can wear purple every Friday in the month of September, that'll work very well for us, bringing awareness to this disease.
I love that. I have some doctors right now who are saying that they're sharing this.
Very good.
So, Dr. Morgan, thank you for tuning in. So he's going to share this.
Is that Norad Morgan?
Norad Morgan. Yeah, he's been on the show 2 or 3 times. Excellent. I love his personality. I love the fact that
we got to bring him on board to come and
assist. Yeah, he says he's going to share it, so that'll be wonderful. So, ladies, in closing, I have to ask this question. But first of all, before I ask this question, I want to know: is there anything else that may be any form of like misconceptions that people have about Alzheimer's or dementia? Before we end, are there any other misconceptions? Because I know you shared some about some people thinking that it's voodoo and
yes.
Are there any other?
One of the things that persons need to be aware of, that persons with dementia and Alzheimer's, they still can be a vital, productive contributor to the Humane Society. Because again, as we say, it's a progressive disease. And we know that persons are right now making contributions, working here in our country, and they have Alzheimer's and dementia. But it just has not been diagnosed.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
and they're out there working, they're doing things. But if you are able to get diagnosed, again, we want persons to go out there, make sure they get their screening. But I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that if persons have been diagnosed with dementia or with Alzheimer's, that they're not able to contribute, they're not able to do anything. They have societies in places like in England, they have, and in some places in Europe, where they have dementia societies, where persons with dementia, they're running the society, they're doing things. A part of Alzheimer's Disease International, we have an arm of that, where we have people who have dementia who have been diagnosed, and they are able to make contributions, and they want to make sure that persons know, hey, I can make a contribution. I can say how I can assist with my care, with my treatment. I know what is best for me. I know what I can do, because they haven't reached that stage where they are not able to function. You're still able to function to a certain extent when you have in that early stage. And that is why it's important to get the diagnosis. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And that's why people are afraid.
Yeah.
And they have that stigma. Oh, once they have dementia, they can't do nothing. They can be crazy and they can be around the place. No. Persons with dementia and Alzheimer who have been early diagnosed, they're still able to make contributions. And so, that is why it is more important. It's so important for you to get your early diagnosis. And of course, we have our phone number. I'm going to put that in there. We have our phone number, 535 4260. That's 535-4260. That's a WhatsApp number. You can send a WhatsApp note if you wish. And then we have our email, Bahamas ALZ242 @gmail.com. Bahamas ALZ242 @gmail.
Thank you so much.
I just want to say, my president hit the nail right on the head, because even my brother, who is early onset of dementia, I thank God for the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, because for the most part, I think they're aware that he has dementia, and they have him still working, and he goes to work every day. And he comes home every day, and he's still contributing, even though he has early onset of dementia. So we know that it's possible for persons to still contribute with the disease. Now we just need to make sure that persons are allowing persons to contribute while they have dementia, because we don't want them to throw them on the side because, you've been diagnosed. It's a way of, as long as they can contribute, allow them to contribute.
Exactly.
So just want to put that plug in. But again, too, in order for our month of events to be a success, we're going to need corporate citizens like yourself. And I just want to thank you for bringing us on to share about Alzheimer's and dementia. And we need the corporate world out there to also partner with us to make sure that we bring awareness. We don't want to be after the fact, because that situation, it was in Freeport, a couple of years last year, I think. Right. When during that situation, everybody's in uproar. The radio shows were blasting and talking about it, and then after it went silent, you don't hear anything about it. But the reality is, it still exists, and we need to protect persons who have been diagnosed with dementia, who's experiencing the disease.
Someone is asking before we leave, are there any shirts for sale?
Yes, we will have some t-shirts available. Again, you could give us a call and we'll be able to get that information to you. They don't have them yet, but for September, definitely we will have them. By September, we should have everything available.
Poster says, thanks so much. You were very informative. So here's my last question, what I said, because we literally have 5 minutes left, right? So for those who have a daughter, son, whatever family member, loved one, etc., remember, who has just become a caregiver, and say a family member who's just now a caregiver. So if you were tuning in, they're going to say something to you to encourage you. And the sentence is, I know this is hard, but So I'm going to ask Ms. Wendi to finish that sentence, and then you're going to say that. So for those who are tuning in, the sentence to encourage you today is, I know this is hard, but
you're going to make it.
Hey.
You're going to make it. You, not only for the person who may have just recently been diagnosed, but also for their family members. Yes, it's going to be hard, but you're going to make it because you're going to get educated on the disease. You're going to be able to advocate for yourself and for your family member who has now been diagnosed with disease. You're going to find out about what type of medications and those things that are available. You're going to get your finances in order. You're going to get your estate in order and your plans, and you're going to put your plans together so that later on down, when the disease has gotten to the point where persons are not able to function, that, hey, I know I have this together. And I'm going to be able to go out there and help others who are in the same situation that I am. And all is not all, but I'm going to make it. You're going to be okay.
I love that. Yeah. I know this is hard, but
you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can take your breaks. You can take care of your loved ones, and you can take your breaks, and you can live a healthy life taking care of your loved ones, doing things that make them feel special while you survive.
I love that so much. I want to thank you so much, ladies, for being a part of your
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Good. Yes. You've been just so informative, as our guests have been stating. And I want to thank God for even allowing us to go through these experiences, because the Bible says all things will work together for the good of those who love the Lord.
Yes, amen.
So even if we have been through, and I say we could have loved ones too, whatever have you, been through the situation, we're able to come out of it and help somebody else. So we're extending that hand for someone else who are
and don't hide it. Do not hide it. You know, because people, like you said, the stigma that is associated with the disease, don't hide it. Because, if you hide it away, you're not going to be able, what they said, a closed hand, you don't get nothing.
No.
So if you open out and you let people know, okay, this is what is happening with my family, you'll be surprised to know who is out there, who is going to be able to assist you and be able to help you along the way. So, just make sure persons know, don't fail.
What I like about this association organization is that you have community.
Yes.
So even if you feel as if you may be the only one going through it, but you're not, you have that community and support from the Bahamas Alzheimer's Association that can say, hey, we've been there. This is what we did. This is how we overcame, et cetera, et cetera. So that community is here. All right. Help is here. Once again, the text number is 535-4260. That's 535-4260. Text them. I'm sure there's someone that's WhatsApp at the moment that can assist you if you are going through this very experience, as someone stated in here, that they just found out that their mom has been diagnosed. And so here it is. This is support. There's community. There's help. You're not in this alone, and everything is going to be all right. So thank you so much for tuning in to Your Lane Talk Show with your coach, Trish Hannah. This is episode 180, The Caregiver's Heart, Loving Someone Through Alzheimer's and Dementia. And it was brought to you by John Shoe Store and Accessories, Tropical Gyros, Your Lane Life Coaching, the Children's Dream Journal, Lysol, Del Monte, and Airwick, all distributed by Thompson Trading. We're also been brought to you by Commonwealth Bank and 242 Media Connect. Okay, so thank you so much to my producer, Chris, for holding it down, getting us our napkins, getting us our water, making sure we're straight. Thank you to Your Lane listeners and new listeners. Thank you so much. We pray that you were all encouraged, empowered, educated today. All right. Of course, we're on every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. on Guardian 96.9 FM. So tune in. And then, of course, you can go to Your Lane Life Coaching on Facebook, or Your Lane with Coach Trish Hannah on YouTube to like and subscribe so that you can know what's going on and the other shows that are to come. In fact, next week, we're going to be talking about vaginal health. Okay, the misconceptions, the products to use, the proper care, etc. So we're going to have a gynecologist on board to talk about that.
So for men, yes, you can listen in too, because
you need to know.
You need to know. Okay, you can't. I would say some things, but we gotta go. All right, so it's 5:00. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Know where it is.
Know where it is, and what to do and what not to do. Okay. All right, so everyone will want to tune in next week for that. All right, so thank you and have a blessed Sunday, everyone.